The center line of the body, or the central channel of the body, the more you become centered. And then, even if you stop, you can still remember where your center is and come back to it. This is the secret behind a lot of energy practices, such as macrocosmic orbit and other practices. Remember I mentioned this principle earlier, that where attention goes, energy flows. Well, guess where your energy is flowing when you focus your attention on your center? It flows back to you. The more you pay attention to yourself, the more centered you become, the more energy circulates within your system, recycling a lot of energy, creating a massive energy flow within your organism. Now, that is the key to self-empowerment. Because when you tap into that flow, you can apply that energy to something creative, or to self-healing, or self-realization. That's one of the things we use this centering exercise for. But we also want to test it. We don't want to assume that we magically became centered by just turning from side to side a few times. How do we test being centered? Just like other practices and principles, we use the testing push. And would you do me a favor and push me? I just did some centering practice. Push me as much as you can. And all my job is to feel where the energy is flowing. I need to feel whether it's flowing to the right or to the left of my center. It's impossible to push me over because statistically speaking, it's not very likely that you'll be able to apply absolutely equal amount of pressure on both the right and left sides of my center line. So wherever the energy is flowing more, I'm going to go where that flow. If you find the center, if you just manage to push straight into my center, then I will exercise the freedom of choice. I will still turn somewhere. It's going to be up to me which direction to turn. And it's definitely not possible to push me. Now, let's take turns. Would you do a centering practice for a moment? Very nice. So it doesn't take long. We are going to experiment with something that is a baby step to testing centering. See if you can bring your hands into prayer-like position. I'm going to actually make you feel like I'm pushing either to the right or to the left. So right now I'm pushing on the side of the hand or fingers, and you just turn in the direction where I'm pushing. And you can feel it, right?
Yeah.
Great. And feel free to pivot on the, you don't want to sink into the back foot. The weight is just slightly onto the front foot. Yeah. You don't want to be caught in the back foot. So, no matter how much I push you into your hands sideways, there is absolutely no chance to push you over. This is an easy baby step to just learn to feel where the energy is flowing. If you push me in my hands, it's no brainer. I can definitely feel where the energy is flowing, to the right or to the left. Now, I'm going to do something different. Instead of keeping my hands in this prayer position, I'm going to turn my palms towards me. I'm not even touching my body. If you push me into my hands, I can still feel where the energy is flowing. As a matter of fact, it's easier to feel where energy is flowing when being pushed into the hands. Why? Because hands are more sensitive to touch than the stomach or chest. When you push me into my hands, I may not even touch my body with my hands. And this becomes even more obvious to me. Would you put your hands out just a little bit away from your torso? Is it easy to feel where energy is flowing?
Yeah.
So this is another baby step. Nice breathing. Obviously when you turn, you exhale.
Yeah.
The same principle. Now, would you do me a favor and put your hands just further out? Yeah, like a little further out. Now this is going to be kind of funny because I'm going to be running around you, trying to push you, and there's absolutely no way I can push you into your center, because just the slightest deviation already makes it impossible to push you, right?
Yeah, and I'm in alignment all the time.
Exactly. Well, that's the powerful way to be. Being in alignment all the time, it's what makes you not an easy pushover. What would be the term for the person who's not a pushover? An empowered person? A person who's stable and centered? Can you imagine also bringing this level of awareness of your own energy and ability to feel the flow of energy around you into various types of meetings, business negotiations, and family dynamics, and not being pushed over by other people, but at the same time not reacting. Like when you push me into my hands, I don't have to push you back.
No.
I don't have to react. As a matter of fact, if I push back, I become easily affected. I become tense. Tension leads to being an easy target. If I'm relaxed and pliable, like that seaweed, and you push, it's like no chance to push me over. Well, that's like an interesting combination of the seaweed practice and centering practice. And instead of tensing up, I relax under pressure. That would be an amazing accomplishment for most humans, to relax under pressure, wouldn't it? We can relax under pressure. We can actually become more empowered when we're relaxed under pressure. We can learn how to relax under pressure even when we push ourselves. How can I push myself? Well, I'm not going to push myself over, but I'm going to push myself nonetheless. I'm going to push myself into my stomach. And when I push myself, I want to feel how much tension or lack thereof there is in my muscles. If there is tension, I may actually push myself over. Tension is frozen movement, and when I tense up, I become more stiff. Stiffness doesn't make me stronger. Stiffness actually makes me more susceptible to being affected by the push. Now, even if I don't push myself over, I can still feel if there is more or less tension in my muscles. If there is any tension, I can tense it up a little bit more, but I don't want to hold it, because then I cannot breathe if I tense up. You're welcome to do the same. You can use it in two hands if you feel like it, or use a fist instead of a palm. The idea is that when you push into your body, notice if there is a supple and soft musculature and connective tissues under your hand, or they're tense and stiff. Stiffness and rigidity is not a sign of strength. It's a sign of weakness. Why? Because tension impedes the ability of muscles to perform. The ability to contract and relax is the sign of a functional muscle. If the muscle is holding tension, it doesn't have a lot more room for tensing up more. And if it could relax, it would have done it a long time ago. If it's not doing it, it means it's stuck. That is exactly what happens when we hold undue tension, usually as a result of either misalignment of the body or emotional armoring. And they usually go hand in hand. You can actually tell what kind of emotional armoring a person has if they are holding tension in their body, because it misaligns the body. We're learning how to check if there is any tension and push ourselves. When we push ourselves, we can push not only in the abdomen, which of course is the first thing that you can do to test whether or not there is any tension in the abs or in obliques or other muscles of the abdominal area. But you can also push into chest. If your pecs are stiff and tense and probably sore, maybe you overwork out. And you can also push into shoulders and feel if the shoulders are pliable and they can move when they're being pushed. You can push into your legs and feel if the legs are relatively soft and mobile or they're stiff and rigid. Stiff and rigid legs is not a sign of strong legs. Once again, a lot of people confuse tension for strength. That's nothing other than confusion. Tension is not a sign of strength, it's a sign of weakness. Muscles are not functional when they're tense, they're much more functional when they're relaxed. There is more room for contraction and relaxation. We want to be that way, not the stiff and brittle way. The Taoists said something to the effect that when the child is being born, it's soft and pliable. When the person is dead, they become stiff and rigid. So stiffness and rigidity is not a sign of health, it's a sign of morbidity. And what we're learning is how to become more pliable and softer, more like a newborn baby, or at least like a baby who is not developed yet. The emotional armoring that we all develop as we grow up. So what happens then? We learn how to not be a pushover, how to be an empowered person by pushing ourselves, and we learn how to relax under pressure. But sometimes you may have some emotional armoring, so how do you deal with emotional armoring and perhaps undo some of it? As I mentioned before, you exaggerate that tension that you already have. So for example, if I have tension in my abs, I'm actually going to tense up more. If I'm pushing, now my abs feel like a washboard. Well, the six-pack abs, right? We all have six-pack abs. That's the anatomy of the human body. We just cover it up with fat. So what happens when you contract those muscles? They become stiff, tense, and you can feel how much tension you're using because you consciously create more tension. You can even tense up a little bit more, just 10% more. Don't push yourself over the edge into spasm, but see how much tension you can create. It's actually a healthy exploration of how much tension you're capable of, but then you won't be able to breathe very well because when you have so much tension in your abs, you can't breathe. That's when you will get sick and tired of holding this tension very quickly. Don't drop it like a hot potato yet. Gradually release it. See, you're learning how to not only tense up, but you're also learning how to relax on demand. How many people know how to relax on demand? Not very many. We're living in much more